All right. Hello, everybody. We are back and we are talking trees live with Mr. Santa Laverne himself. Hi, RJ.
Hello, how are you?
I am great. What a sport you are. I love that. So, this is RJ Laverne, Manager of Education and Training for Davey Tree. And we have a special chat for you today. I'll give you one guess what we're going to talk about. RJ, tell us a little bit about where you are.
We are here today at this lovely Christmas tree farm. It's the Moore Tree Farm, and I'm privileged and honored to have with me the owners of this beautiful farm, Gene Pollock and Calvin Moore. And we've been coming to this Christmas tree farm for over 20 years now,
Wow.
and it's just a beautiful place to find the perfect tree for your Christmas.
Oh, well, it looks beautiful, especially with that. Thank you for arranging that fresh dusting of snow for us.
We ordered it last week. It came right on time.
And was it Jean and Calvin?
Gene and Calvin, yes.
Thank you so much for having us at your farm. How long have you guys been growing Christmas trees?
Well, Dad first started planting in 1980 and sold the first one, I believe, in 1986. And then he and Mom took care of it mostly. When it got too much, then we purchased it from him, at least the tree farm. He still owns the farm. And actually, we have 11 partners. So we're not the sole owners of this tree farm. So there's a lot of others that put in a lot of sweat and tears.
It's all family.
Yes, all family.
You don't plant every one of those trees with your own hands?
We do.
They do by hand, yes.
Yes, with groups of family.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about what are the species you have there on the farm?
Well, the main species we have, in fact, we're in an area where you can see all four of our major species. There is a fifth one, but we have blue spruce. Spruce is behind us. We have the Fraser Fir right here, white pine is off here to your left, and over this way we have Canaan Fir. There is another fir that we carry. It's called concolor. It's very similar to the Fraser and the Canaan. However, it has a rather long needle, so it looks fuller, and it's kind of a citrusy smell to it. It's kind of unique.
Wonderful. It is a little bit hard to hear you guys, so if you could just talk a little bit louder. And Courtney, yeah, there you go. Thanks. When we get our average Christmas tree, I know that you get them at all different heights from Charlie Brown to, your 20-foot ceiling, but what's the age of maybe like a 6-foot tree? How old is that tree when we cut it down?
Well, depending on the type of tree, a white pine will grow about a foot a year. So in 6 years, you should have a 6 foot. Should have. Huh. With weather conditions being what they are, you never know. Blue spruces and firs take a little longer, so they're more like 8 years. They grow slowly at the beginning, and so they take a little longer to grow, which is why they're usually a little more costly.
Well, you get I mean, it's the investment that you make at your farm. And RJ's going to tell us all about some of the varieties and why we choose what we choose. But thank you so much, both of you, for hosting us here today. It does look a little chilly, so I'm kind of glad I'm here with my already cut tree. But I guess you're used to it.
We are. We dress warmly, so if we keep busy, we keep warm.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, RJ.
On a personal note, I certainly want to thank the Moore family for allowing us to come every year. My family and I have been here for over 20 years, and every year we have found the absolute perfect, beautiful tree. And so, thanks so much to the Moore family.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's fun. My family tradition is if we find a bird's nest in our tree, we'll have good luck for the rest of the year.
Yes. More than once we've had a bird's nest.
What I learned is my dad would sometimes bring the bird's nest to the tree farm to plant it. I never knew that, but now I do that with my kids too. So that's fun. It's all about traditions, isn't it?
It is. It certainly is.
So we have a lot of great people saying hi to you, RJ, and they love the hat. And thanks to Jean and Calvin. And if you guys tell us where your local tree farm is in the comments, we've already got Donna is saying there's one in Hartville that she loves with lots of good memories. So now's a chance to shout out your favorite local tree farm. Mine is Schmidt's Tree Farm in Landenberg, Pennsylvania. They have 2 reindeer. Tip, Jean and Calvin. So this is today the point. You got it. The point today is to talk about Christmas trees, the best ones, but most importantly, how to care for them when you get them home. And RJ is our tree expert, so he knows about trees when they're in the ground and growing, but also some tips when they're in your home. So let's get to it, RJ. Why don't we talk a little bit about the species here and some of the best species for our homes and why they are the best?
Sure, you bet. So looking out to the southwest, you'll see this beautiful field of Colorado blue spruce. And they're a really popular, lovely landscape tree. The good thing about the Colorado blue spruce, as the name suggests, is the lovely blue tint that is on the foliage. Just lovely. Screams Christmas time. And these trees tend to hold their needles quite well as long as you keep them watered. Once you get them in the house, it's important to keep the trees watered, whether it's a spruce or a pine or a fir. If there's a downside to the spruce, their needles are really kind of prickly, and so if you grab them, you'll feel that kind of sharp needle. So if you're the lucky guy in your house that gets to string the lights on the tree, you might want to keep a small box of Band-Aids nearby for the few scratches. But if you can get past the prickly foliage, it's a lovely, beautiful tree to have in your home or in your yard for that matter. So these are the spruce trees. And out in the distance, you can see the next door neighbors of the tree farm. That's Mays Valley Farm, where they have lots of vineyards. They make their own wine there. So
Wow.
We're in a lovely part of the country where you can get your trees and your bottle of wine right next door. And then on the other side of the field here, this is an example of a Fraser Fir.
Mm-hmm.
And the firs have softer foliage, so you can easily touch these, squeeze these. If your little kid runs into the Christmas tree when it's in the stand, they're not going to get beat up too bad. And they're a really lovely tree. The Fraser Fir is native to the southeast part of the United States.
Interesting.
Virginia and the Carolinas, where the Colorado spruce that we looked at a minute ago, like the name suggests, is native to the Rocky Mountain region. So the Fraser firs are here, and a little bit farther down on the field are another species of fir, the Canaan Fir, which is actually a subspecies of balsam fir. And the Canaan Fir is named after a small valley in West Virginia where they grow, and they're also very beautiful trees. The one really good thing that I like about the fir trees is that the branches are pretty sturdy, and you can hang a pretty heavy ornament on them, and they'll stand up just fine. I like them a lot too because once you get the lights on them and all your ornaments on, they're just a absolutely beautiful tree. So the Fraser Fir and the Canaan Fir are really good choices for your home. I also snipped off a little bit of foliage. Calvin Moore had mentioned another fir species that they have at the farm. And this one is called white fir or concolor fir. And it is native to the Rocky Mountain region as well. And you can see that the concolor fir has much longer needles.
Yeah.
Either the Fraser Fir or the the Canaan Fir. And what I like about this is the needles and the branches are so flexible. It's almost like petting your cat. It's really a beautiful tree. The Frasers and the Canaan Fir are really good for holding on to their foliage.
That's important.
This guy takes a little bit more care. You'll need to water it a little bit more religiously in order to keep the needles on. But it's a beautiful tree, a great choice as well. And then right behind me is one of my all-time favorite tree species. This is eastern white pine. If you let this tree grow, it can get to be 150, 200 feet.
Wow.
And in fact, this was the prize timber species in the Lake States. And it was prized because it would grow so tall and straight that they used to harvest white pine and use for ship masts.
Wow.
Back in the old sailing days. You probably won't want to let it grow to that height before you cut it for your Christmas tree. But a 6-foot white pine is a beautiful choice. The difference that you can tell a pine from a fir is that if you gently pluck off some of the needles of a pine, whoops, in this case, you'll see that the needles are in bundles. They come in
Yes.
bundles of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a conifer tree that has needles in bundles of 5, you're looking at an eastern white pine.
Interesting.
The fir and the spruce have individual needles. So if you pluck a needle off, you'll have one.
I can smell it. Now, are all these trees chosen because they do smell good in the home, or are there some that might have a better scent in the home than others?
Well, if you like that classic Christmas scent, you can't go wrong with any of the fir trees. The balsam fir is a great choice for Christmas wreaths, as are the Fraser Fir and the Canaan Fir.
Mm-hmm.
They have a beautiful Christmas scent. The spruce do as well. White pine is not very aromatic. It doesn't. It's very subtle. And if you have people in your house that are sensitive to scents, then white pine might be the perfect choice.
Great tip.
Because it doesn't have a lot of resin that has a pungent odor.
Great tip. We have an interesting question about, and resin made me think of this, the Swedish tradition of putting candles on your tree, which seems very dangerous to me. But would there be a tree that you recommend over others to do that?
Perhaps a tree that's made out of, I don't know, maybe asphalt or concrete.
I was going to say, I feel a joke coming on.
That would probably be about the only type of tree that I put lit candles on.
Yeah.
Safety is always priority number 1. So, and that's another good reason to frequently water your Christmas tree and not let the foliage dry out. And also, if you're using newer LED type Christmas tree lights,
yep,
or the small miniature lights that don't generate much heat, that will keep your tree from drying out quickly as well. The older, larger incandescent bulbs that tend to heat up quite a bit, they'll tend to pull the moisture out of your trees a little bit quicker.
Got it. Before we get to indoor care,
those candles.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Before we get to indoor care, tell us a little bit about how, when we're walking around our tree farm or even our tree lot, I don't know if this applies to a tree lot, but how do we pick the best tree for our home besides the varieties you just told us?
Sure. How do you pick the perfect tree for your home? Well, my advice is to come out to a beautiful place like this, Moore's Christmas Tree Farm. or a tree farm near you, and bring your loved ones with you. It's less about the species of the tree and the color of the tree and the size or the shape of the tree. And it's a lot more about the voices that you'll hear from your children, from your brothers and sisters, your spouse, calling off in the distance, "Hey, I found the perfect tree." And there's another member of your family that's 100 yards away that has also found the perfect tree. Whatever tree you choose, whether it's a pine, a spruce, a fir, a Douglas fir, whatever tree that you choose, it will come with the memories of you and your family selecting that tree. And that's what's really going to last well beyond the month or 6 weeks that you have the tree in your house. So make the adventure of finding the perfect tree one that you experience with your loved ones and families. And I guarantee whatever tree that you choose, it will be the perfect tree.
Oh, that's so sweet. My little 3-year-old was laying on the couch last night and she looked at our tree and she goes, "That is just the best tree ever." And
Yeah.
you're right. You know, when you involve them in the process, they really love it. So we've got 3 questions, Ryan, Matt, and Alyssa. We're going to get to your questions in a minute, but I want to ask RJ about when you are at a tree farm. I've heard that you can take the tree and kind of bounce it and shake it. And if a bunch of needles fall off, it's no good. Is that a myth or is that true?
Well, if you're at a tree farm and you're freshly cutting the tree, there won't be very many dry needles. But here at Moore's farm, they do shake the tree so that any of the dry needles will fall out. The bigger danger is if you go to a lot where they have pre-cut Christmas trees, and you're never really quite sure how long it's been since those trees have been harvested. So if you're at a pre-cut lot, it's a good idea to grab a hold of the needles and give them a gentle pull. And if a lot of those needles come off in your hand, or if the twig feels a little bit brittle, then it's probably been cut for a fairly long time, maybe even weeks, and that will tend to dry the tree out. So if you do buy a tree from a pre-cut lot and you find one that the needles feel flexible and they don't fall off in your hand, when you get it home, make sure that you cut off the bottom 2 to 3 inches of the trunk. And the reason that is that when the tree is cut, the sap in the trunk tends to become gummy and it won't allow much water uptake. So by taking off the bottom couple of inches, you open up unplugged vessels, water vessels within the trunk that can then pull water up through the rest of the tree.
That is a great tip. And you're right. When I said that, I meant tree lot, but my tree farm will run it through the thing that wraps it and shakes it as well. So that's a great tip. So you talked a little bit about the fresh cut and from a tree lot. What about the ball and burlap tree? I think, people do that, I think sometimes.
Sure. So there are establishments where you can buy a pine tree, a fir tree, a spruce tree that is balled and burlapped. In other words, the roots are dug up from the soil and wrapped in burlap. And the idea there is that once you have the tree in your house decorated for Christmas, then you can take it outside and plant it and keep it as a landscape tree. It's a noble idea, but it can be kind of difficult to pull off. And the reason is that when you bring that balled and burlap tree that has been sitting out in the December weather, and you bring it into your house, it starts to think, spring has arrived. It's time for me to uncork my little buds and start growing. And so if those buds start to swell and the tree is thinking that it's springtime and it's time to grow, and then after Christmas is through and you take the tree back outside into the winter weather, those buds will freeze once again. And
Yeah.
that brand new foliage that the tree was thinking it was time to grow will freeze and die. So if you do have a balled and burlap tree that you bring inside, it's very important, number one, to keep that root ball wet, moist, and so you're going to have to put that large root ball in some type of a waterproof container. And it's very important that you bring the tree in kind of at the last minute, maybe a day or two before Christmas, decorate the tree, and then after Christmas, get it back outside as quickly as you can so that those buds don't start to swell.
I never thought about that. And I've always thought, man, it would be fun to have a tradition of a ball and burlap tree every year. Then you plant it. And then, when your kids are 20, you've got this forest. But I knew there was a reason why that wasn't more popular.
Well, and when you think about it too, when you come to a tree farm and you harvest your tree, you might think, oh, it's unfortunate that we're taking the tree out. But for every tree that comes out of this beautiful farm, multiple new trees are planted.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supporting a local business. And that's a really good thing. And when you're done with the tree at the end of the Christmas season and you take the lights off, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the useful life of the tree.
No.
For one thing, you can take it outside and hang pine cones on it that are stuffed with peanut butter, and the squirrels and the birds will love you forever. And then when you are done with the tree, take it to a recycling facility, and the tree will be chipped, and it will become useful mulch that can be used in the landscape. So there's lots of value to be had in a tree that comes from a tree farm.
Yeah, absolutely. I love tree farms for that reason. They'll plant it, and then recycling your tree. We'll touch on that a little bit more at the end. We're getting a ton of questions about in the home. So Alyssa, we'll take yours first about placement. Is there a better place in your home, for example, maybe away from a heating vent or a window, that you would suggest once they bring the tree home?
Yes, if you can keep it away from, as you mentioned, a heater vent, that will be good. It will help it from drying out too quickly. Keep it away from your wood stove. Keep it away from your fireplace.
Lit candle.
Those candles. Right?
Yes.
And whatever you can do to keep the tree from drying out is the best thing. And no matter where you place the tree in the house, the most important maintenance tip is to make sure that you water it on a daily basis.
So we got a question from Matt about watering. So you can give us some tips on that, but there's a myth buster. We're going to bust a myth right now, you guys. So I've seen a lot of products that you can add to your water to prolong the life of your tree, almost like putting a penny in your flower vase. Is there any truth to any of that? Is there any magic dust we can add to our tree stands?
Well, if there's any magic dust that you can add to water to extend the life of organisms, deliver it to me, because I want to try that. But when it comes to your Christmas tree, what the Christmas tree needs is water, and don't pay attention to the magic elixirs that are out there that will extend the life of your tree. What will extend the useful life of your Christmas tree is pure H2O. You just can't beat it. Yeah.
So you need a good tree stand. We got a question about that, about the tip. Is there a tip of the gallon size? I think it all depends on the size of your tree, really, what tree stand you get. But, does a tree, I don't even know the answer to this, but would a cut tree suck up a gallon of water a day, or is there no measurement like that?
Well, depending on the size of the tree, depending on the species of the tree, and depending how fresh the tree has been harvested, it can easily take up a gallon or more, a couple of gallons even in a daytime. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's in a warm house, if it's near a heat register where there's warm air moving. can easily go through a gallon or more in a day. So choose a Christmas tree stand that has as large of a water reservoir as you can fit comfortably into your room. The other benefit on that is that those that usually have a larger water reservoir have longer legs that provide a more sturdy balance platform. So once again, if your favorite 3-year-old runs into the tree, it's not likely to cause the tree to fall over.
Yes,
So
everyone.
a generous size stand with a good water basin and wide platform.
Great tip. Everyone give us a virtual hand raise if you have ever had a tree topple over twice in the same season, right here. Yeah.
Twice. Just once.
I know it happens. It only should happen to you once, but it did happen to us twice the same year. So that's why a good tree stand is important. And this kind of leads us to our next question that we got from Ryan, which seems to be a popular question is, my cat jumps on my tree. How do I keep my cat away from my tree?
How do you keep your cat away from the tree? Probably the best suggestion is to buy a large snarly dog to attach at the base of the tree, and that will prevent your cat. But if you don't want to go to that measure to get the large dog, I've been told, I can't attest to this personally, but I've been told that cats don't necessarily like the smell of orange peels. So try peeling an orange or two and leaving those at the base of the tree. And other than that, cats are just curious, and especially the little buggers, they tend to want to explore that tree. So it's another good reason to have a stand with a sturdy platform. But hold your cat on your lap, scratch their ears, and they'll be happy to stay there and away from the tree.
Yeah, I think the sturdy tree stand and the big dog are good tips. We're getting now a dog versus cat in the comments argument. Dogs rule. I like them both. But I think I've also read avoid the shimmery ornaments, but I feel like that's not going to do anything. If a cat wants to jump, they're going to jump. Maybe that will prevent the batting. But
yeah, so we got our tree last weekend, probably about 10 yards away from where I'm standing right now. And as I was stringing the lights on that night, my favorite cat was lying on the strand of lights, preventing me from doing additional work. And I was happy to have the help. Cats are cool.
Yeah, I know. We have to figure out how to live with our furry 4-legged friends. And losing an ornament here and there is the price we pay. So any other questions, you guys, about trees? We did also talk about, RJ, you mentioned it already, but it's worth mentioning if you have just joined us, some other things that you talked about besides water, but you mentioned the LED light. So I know old-fashioned lights were really hot, but so you want to choose a cooler light bulb, right?
Correct.
And then are there any other things we can do to prevent needle drop, or is it really just water is the thing?
Water, and more water. One more thing that on a serious note, I would like to highly recommend. Have a good quality, fully charged fire extinguisher in your house within easy reach. It's a very, very rare circumstance that your tree is going to catch on fire, but if it does, you want to know where that fire extinguisher is, and that it's fully functional. And that's good advice all year round, not just at the Christmas season.
I love that. That is a great tip. Safety is so important. And that's whether you're trying to prune your own tree, which if you're pruning over your head, hire a certified arborist, or whether you're bringing a tree indoors. Safety is important. So thanks for that reminder, RJ. All right. Well, we talked about recycling a little bit. So let's flash forward a month or so. Well, how long should a tree last? Let's say we're cutting them this weekend. How long should these trees last if we'd water them and put them in the right spot?
Sure. So again, it's somewhat species dependent, but we got our Fraser Fir last weekend. So it was the last day in November, and we'll have our tree in our house probably until the third week of January. So you're looking at 6 or 7 weeks, and as long as you keep that tree well watered, especially with the firs, you should have no problem. Some of the other species, you might see that they're tending to dry out a little bit sooner. I know when I was a kid, the tree that we had every year that my dad would bring home from a local lot was a Scotch pine, and those needles tended to dry out a little bit sooner. And so every year when it was time to take the lights off the tree, Dad would spend an hour or two on his hands and knees plucking out the Scotch pine needles from the carpet under the watchful eye of my mother.
Sounds a little bit like my house.
Yep.
Yeah, take all the ornaments and lights off outside. That's what we do.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I know that tree recycling programs do require you to take all of the lights. And of course, you want to take your ornaments off, but making sure that all of your lights are off. And there are great local tree recycling programs. I know Davey participates in a great one called One for the Chipper. Is that a national program or is that just in Georgia?
I believe right now it's just in Georgia, at least that program under that name. But in many communities, and even in our community right here in Hartville, Ohio, there will be a site where you can take your trees, and they usually open those sites up the week after Christmas or the first weekend in January, and they'll keep those sites open into February. And it's a real convenient place to take your tree and know that that's going to be chipped up and the chips used for landscape mulch.
Landscape mulch, I know local playgrounds, there's a lot of great benefits that this will go back into your local community. You get it from your local community, you enjoy it, and then it goes back into your local community. So invest in that, in the time, and look up some of those local programs in your area. If you love one, share it here. We can tout the program. Well, I think that's it. Mr. Laverne, I think we've covered all of the people's questions, and I'm sure you're pretty cold by now, although I think you're used to the cold.
This is lovely. I'll give you one last tip, too, before we leave. When you come out to your Christmas tree farm and you find the perfect tree and all of your loved ones are around, you're going to have to get down on your knees in order to make that cut that's nice and close to the ground. And while you're down here on your knees making that cut, it's a perfect chance to count your blessings and say thanks for all the great things that we have in our lives. Then take your tree home and enjoy it for the holidays.
Oh, that's a special tradition. Taking that moment. I always love to just, anytime you get to pause and remember that scenery and that moment, I think it's a great chance. So that was a lovely tip. Thank you, RJ.
You are more than welcome.
I thought you were going to say bring a little knee pad or something to kneel on, but you went way higher level than that. Very high. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Jill and Jen in the background, for your videography skills. Give us one more shot of the farm, if you will. That beautiful view. I mean, we couldn't have picked a better day. Is that just beautiful? It makes us feel like we are there, but all in the comfort and warmth of our own homes. So thank you so much, RJ. I'll be back next December 16th at 3 p.m. with Allie Buchanan. And we're going to talk about maybe some ice and storm damage to your tree. So RJ won't be here, but for now we can say thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. All right. Uh-oh, her fingers finally froze.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.